Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You've hit the spot. The place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Put your thinking caps on, because the conversation starts now. To On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You're at your favorite spot, the best podcast on the planet, number one. This is the place here where the conversations are pointed, and the guests right over there are super sharp. The responses are never dull. We are talking to Deidrea Kiesling. I like that.
Got it.
I got it. You take your time and it just rolls off your tongue. But what's going to roll off our tongue today, Brains, is a really great conversation. Now, you know, there are life coaches all over the planet.
Yeah.
But what I like to do is I like to cut in. I want to see what is unique about each individual person. What do they bring to the table? What are they going to pour into you that's different than anybody else in the universe? Is it their compassion? Is it their skill set? Is it their job? Are they a cheerleader? Or are they still sitting on the bench thinking that they're a coach and they're actually just a team player? We're going to talk about that and then some. Welcome her to the show. How are you, Deidrea?
Hi. I'm so happy to be here and to see you live in person.
Oh, you're sweet.
So nice. And I love your scarf and your bright, I don't know if that's pink or orange, but
it's
so happy to be here.
You know, I went to a concert. I don't know if do you know who Charlie Wilson is?
Yeah.
That band. Okay. Well, we went to Charlie Wilson's concert, baby. And the opening act was In Vogue. And their background was tangerine. And I just gravitated to these oranges and reds and stuff. It was the prettiest thing I had ever seen. They had laid it out. So that, I think, is the summer color. It's going to be tangerine.
Love it. Yes.
You look pretty in pink. You always have the prettiest smile.
Thank you.
I know you've been going through a little bit of something, but before we got started here, we put a bless on that and we told the devil that he was a liar. But what don't kill you only makes you stronger. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a mentor say to me once that our pain is our path.
Yes.
And I do believe that. And the curriculum of our life is determined by that and the answer that we give to that.
Exactly. And you know what? And listening.
Yes.
A good listener, because we always jaw jacking, you know, always talking, but never really just sit in silence. And people think that, you know, that's deep meditation. Sometimes just sit and be quiet. I signed up, girl, for next year to go to a silent retreat for 3 days.
Yeah.
Now, the way I like to, again, run my mouth, I don't know if they're going to kick me out, send me home, or put me in detention, but I'm excited. But when you sit in that place of silence, you hear so much.
Yeah.
Really. And so you heard yourself say, I'm leaving corporate America, and now I want to work with other individuals.
Yeah.
The Dream Academy. Tell me a little bit about the transition and the pivot that you made and where you are now.
Well, I had a dream to be a life coach, inspirational, motivational speaker. And that started really early on, like maybe even as a teenager. My dad was really into personal development and we listened to Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar. So I grew up kind of in this like success principles and open mindset. But I got into corporate because, you know, you get into reality and you lose touch with your dream the older we get. And I just kept having this dream, but then I was getting in corporate, then I'd leave, then I'd get scared and I'd justify that I needed to go back to corporate, you know, to make money, to have my success. And so I just kept doing this 5 times. I would take a big leap. I would take bold, courageous action toward my dream. And then I would get scared. And I would tell myself that I needed to go back to, you know, a real job to make money, to support myself. And, you know, I listened to the alibis, the excuses, the justifications that we all have to cling to the good life, the status quo that we've all created for ourselves. And so finally that 5th time when I said, no more, I said, now or never.
Well, the thing is that, you know, entrepreneurs end up being entrepreneur. People do not realize that this is the toughest gig on the planet. First, you got to come up with the idea and you got to believe in it. Then you got to come up with the conception. Then you got to create it. Then you got to get somebody else to buy into it, create the service around what they want, get them to buy, close the deal, and then start that process all over again. And you always have to reinvent yourself as an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship is actually the setup to sell or to move on to something else. It's not to stay in this quote unquote niche. You've got to have multiple revenue streams to survive. I mean, the hustle is not easy. Everybody is not going to pay your top level. And so how are you going to be able to balance that? But the most important thing is that you have to love what you do. And you have to realize that it is a business. Now, if you got a jobby hobby or you volunteering, you still want to produce your best. But when you're talking about a entrepreneurship and having a job, that's business. That's making money. Men go on a golf course and they, play a couple rounds of golf and close multi-million-dollar deals. You get some women on the phone and they got to have it co-signed by their grandmother and their husband, what they think. How are you able to make your own decisions? Well, how do you encourage people to make their own decisions about the things they do?
Well, I think that when you have a dream, when you have a vision, when you know deep down inside you have a calling that you're meant for more. And I think the first step is to really, like we were saying about getting quiet and listening and really paying attention to what is really calling you, and to step into the possibility of that without knowing how, without all the reasons and excuses and basically lies we tell ourselves about why it's not possible. So in 2019 on Christmas Eve, it was the first Christmas without my mom. And so my kids and I went to visit my husband, my father. And on Christmas Eve, I was really having this strong call, like, now is my time. If not now, when? To do this business that I've been dreaming of and tried so many times. And that night I started Googling for domain names for my new company that I was starting. And I was trying all these names and I was like, that one was taken, that one was taken, that one was taken. And then I thought, really, what am I really wanting here? What am I about? And what is my mission? And what do I really want to do with this business? And I just had this moment of, I want to create a school. I want to create an academy where you come to study, where you study success principles, where you study yourself, where you're mentored and supported in a community. And it just came to me in a flash, the Dream Academy.
Wow.
And then I Googled that and it was available. And I was like, well, this is meant to be. So I put that in my cart to check out. And then it said that it was $4,000 for that domain name. And, usually they're like, $10, $9.99, but this one was $4,000. So in that moment, I knew that I was making a decision. Am I really going to do this? Because at that point, I'd only been a life coach for about 3 months. I'd made $2,000. And here I was about to invest $4,000 on this domain name. And I just was at that crossroads, and I made a decision. And I bought that URL, the Dream Academy. And so Christmas Eve of 2019 is when I started the Dream Academy.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at my dad after I did that. I was at my computer and he was standing up. I will never forget this. And I looked up at him and I said, I just started my $1 million business.
That's right.
And my dad said, I know you can do it.
Oh, see?
And that's how it started. And then it's been, it's taken me some time. It's taken me, some trial and effort, and doing this, doing a lot of different things to really get it to where it is right now. And that, like you were saying about entrepreneurship, it's not going to end up looking like what you think it is when you start. And if you think you've got it all figured out, then you're in the wrong business, because you have to be flexible, you have to be open, and you just have to take it, just see the next step and see the next step. And I think that's what holds a lot of us back, is we think we need to have the whole thing worked out before.
Oh, I know. That's what I tell people about marketing and promotion. They go, well, I need to have my website. I need to have my landing page and my book needs to be finished. I said, okay, that's great. And I understand. But all of that is in vain if they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You got you've invested, again, all this money, time, energy. You have to introduce yourself and you have to be conscious of what other people's needs are. You are providing a service.
Yeah. And I will tell you one of the biggest business lesson that I've learned, one of the ones that really, if you can just really own this, it can really impact your success, and your impact is, in marketing, we're all taught that you need to deliver value into the world, right? Your level of income is going to be based on the value that you deliver.
Right.
And I always thought that, and I agreed with that, until I heard a mentor 2 years ago add this extra layer to it. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's what was holding me back. You have to value for value. So sometimes there's a disconnect, like we're putting out all this value and everyone's saying, yes, that's so good, you're doing great, but we don't value it and we minimize it and we discount it. And so when we minimize and discount, then the market's going to start minimizing and discounting.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying about closing a deal. I see so many times individuals, they've got this great idea and I've got free. Well, you know what? I'm cautious about things I get for free.
Yeah.
If you don't put a price on your value, as you clearly said, Deidrea, you will be devalued. It's cheap at that point. You need to be competitive. You may not be the low-cost leader. You may not be at the top of the food chain, but somewhere in the middle, you need to be competitive because that gives people options and gives people choices. You don't go down restaurant row and see one restaurant.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good analogy, because there's a reason why all those restaurants are together. They're not competing with each other. Together, they're creating a market. Right. And one of the things, so I am a lifelong student of success principles and our timeless, classic books. So I've been studying Think and Grow Rich and the Science of Success.
Let me tell you, that's on my bookshelf next to my Bible. Yes,
well,
sir.
I will tell you one of the biggest lessons that I have learned from the Science of Success by Wallace Wattles is, and again, I think this is a piece that a lot of people miss, is that our thoughts are how things are brought to us. Create everything first in our mind and then in the world. Everything starts with our thoughts. And a lot of us know that, right? That we, our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings, drive our actions, and it's our actions that create the results that we have. So everything, when you look around your life, and everything in your physical environment is a reflection of what you've been thinking. The amount of money in your bank account, the car that you're driving, the house that you live in. And so if you want to change, you have to change your thinking.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of us know that, but the piece that is the extra piece that really started bringing it all into, for me, is in studying the Science of Success. And Wallace Wattles says, the thoughts are how things are created, right? We know that we create things with our thought, but this is the piece that most people miss. The things that we want are created and brought to us by our thoughts, but it's our actions and how we receive them. So it's closing the loop, right? And I think a lot of people think, and that's why, millions of people have read Think and Grow Rich, and they're not all millionaires.
They're not, but again, they don't apply the principles. People always say knowledge is power. It's only power when it's applied.
Right.
And sometimes it's not the 6 figures that you're wanting. Right. Sometimes it's just peace of mind.
Yeah, and whatever you define that.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to figure out what success means to you. Yes. It's different for every person. Even little people want to be successful at winning a baseball game or the spelling bee, or and senior citizens want to be successful at creating a legacy or volunteering. It's always different for someone else. I want to talk to you a little bit about the podcast. Tell me what you are pouring into the airwaves on your podcast.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you were saying how we all get to define success for ourselves. And I 100% believe that. And the name of my podcast is The Success Minded Woman.
All
and
right.
we're all about defining success for yourself and then making it happen. So that my podcast is really about, it's for high achieving, goal oriented women who know they were meant for more, but can't quite figure it all out. And so with the podcast, we talk about mindset and goals and productivity and then all the things that get in our way, like imposter syndrome, like procrastination, like perfectionism. So it's kind of a combination of, implementation and success principles and mindset kind of all wrapped together, and with some inspiration and some motivation. But I end every podcast with an action step. So my podcast is, you can listen to it and it can be very entertaining. People love it, but you can listen to it as a implementation tool. My intention with my podcast is to pour so much content and preparation and delivery. And I do it in such a lay it out so that you could really transform your life through listening to the podcast. But you have to do the steps at the end, the assignments.
Right. You got to show up. You got to do the homework. Where are you at in your life on a scale from 1 to 10? Where are you at with happiness, career?
Yeah.
Just give me one big juicy number for all of it.
Yeah. Well, overall, one of the things I do in my coaching program is we look at the 4 quadrants of life, and that's kind of like the filter that I look at my life through. So the pillar of health and well-being, of love and relationships, of vocation, and time and money freedom. And, obviously the goal is to be, well-rounded and have, full spectrum living in all the areas. But the reality is that usually we have 1 or 2 areas that we're weaker in and that, need more time and attention. For me right now, it's relationships. I've got some things going on with some of my kids, and that's taking a lot of my time, a lot of my energy, a lot of my spiritual practice, and really stepping fully into what I believe is in the area of relationships. In pretty much all the other areas, I'm at a 5. 1 out of 5, I'm at a 5. And my health and well-being, I would say I'm a 5 for sure. I'm in the best health of my life. I've lost 50 pounds over the last 2 years.
Get ready to say you lost weight from the time I connected with you, and you're
and I'm 58, and every time I see people, if they haven't seen me in a while, they say you're getting younger and younger, and I am, because I'm so happy on the inside, fulfilled, and living my purpose and living my passion, and being my best self. Like, I cannot be any better than I am right now, doing exactly what I love to do. And that, I believe, is the power of when we follow our purpose and we step into what's possible for us. I think the ripple effect of that. So I've lost 50 pounds. Obviously, I started my coaching business and I exited my corporate business. I did come up with an exit strategy because I had my own consulting business and I was very successful at that. So I created a 3-year exit strategy, figuring out the finances that I needed, to make. And I carved out a savings of each year to invest in my company. So I gave myself a runway of revenue in my business so that I could launch. And so I think that's important too, that time and money freedom quadrant of full spectrum living is to make sure that that you have a safety, before you launch.
You have to have a safety net. Mine is my husband, but
whatever it is,
I'm not ashamed to say it. Okay. But for the most part, he knows that I can handle the business if I have to, and that I can take care of myself. You got to be self-sustainable. As the old saying goes, God blesses the child that has his own.
Yeah.
And so many people get in relationships and they become codependent, or like my one cousin tells me, well, I'm a kept woman, I get an allowance. I say, okay, well, good luck with that. Good luck with that, because you got an education, you've got a career, you've got degrees, and you're sitting there like lunch meat. Do something with that. Create something to keep your mind stimulated. Again, to keep your dreams alive. Because just because you're in a, whatever, marriage, relationship, maybe even if you're depressed, you have to keep your mind active. And then that will take you out of that funk. You've got to find a positive distraction. Wouldn't you agree?
I do think it's important to focus on the positive and do something in the world where you're expressing yourself. Either that's through a vocation and some kind of money making, job or career, or even if it's some, expression of creativity, artistic, or I do believe that's for some women, being a full-time mom, that's their expression and that's their vocation. So I don't think there's a one size fits all. I think the important thing is for every one of us to really tap in and ask ourselves this question: what would I love? And not what I'm good at, or what I think I should do, or what other people tell me I'm good at, or what I think I can do based on my circumstances.
Right.
But to really tap into what would you love, to open up your life in front of a blank canvas, and if you were going to create whatever you wanted, what would that be? And I think that's where a lot of us don't give ourselves that opportunity to really vision that life outside of our current circumstances, situations, and conditions. And that's really what I do. That's my passion. That's my mission. That's my purpose.
Right.
Is to help women ask that question and answer that question, and then live it, and then bring it into reality.
Right. And it's fun. And have fun.
Yes.
Don't look at it as such a test. I did that the other day. I was walking up the hill and I looked up this big giant hill and I said, oh, good Lord, I'm going to go the other way. I don't feel like going up this hill. But then I thought about it. How many people can't walk?
Yeah.
How many people can't get out of the bed? How many people don't have a beautiful area and neighborhood to walk through that's safe? Girl, I got up to the top of the hill and I patted myself on the back.
Good for you.
But it was a lot and it was a journey. So don't look at things as a punishment. Look at them as a blessing, because you have the ability to do that. You're in your right mind. You still are able to think. You have your mobility. You're able to write. You have a voice. You're able to speak. There are so many just small, minuscule things that we take for granted. Let's ask you some fun questions, Deidrea.
Okay.
If you were a race car, a slick race car, what kind of car would you be?
I don't know that much about race cars.
Maybe not a race car, but let's say a fancy, expensive, exotic car. What would you be?
I would probably, the image that's coming to mind is a Bentley.
Oh boy. What color would you be?
I think it would be like a silverish rose gold.
Oh shoot. And would you have leather seats?
Leather seats. I think they would be kind of a very, very light pink with a black piping.
Well, look at that. She's thought about this, Brains. All right. If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be?
Well, I don't cook much. My husband is the chef in our family. So, an appliance, what would I be? I don't know. I think I would just be sort of, let me think. Okay. I think that I would be the refrigerator.
Okay.
Because I would be open to everyone's ingredients.
Okay.
Holding them, keeping them safe and cool. And yeah, I just see myself as like being a container, and my husband does the cooking.
That's wonderful. I'd be the air fryer. Because it's quick, it's slick, it's easy to clean, it keeps things juicy, crisp, and it's low in calories. If you were an animal, what animal would you be and why?
I mean, the animal that comes to mind is my dog Trixie, because she is just, she loves her life. She loves her family. She has so much fun, and she has a great life.
I'd be a party animal. I like to get it in. If you had 3 wishes, what would they be?
Hmm. Hmm. One of my wishes would be that everyone would would really know that they are far more capable than they know, and that everyone in the world would really know and believe that they're here for a reason. And I believe that. So I guess my third wish would be that everyone would step into the possibility for their life. And I believe that the ripple effect of that, of everyone on the planet living to their full potential, tapping into their true purpose and passion, would change the world.
Well, that's a big wish, and the world's been around a long time. So the struggle is real for many people.
Yeah, and the struggle is real even as we are living into our full potential and purpose and passion. Life is always going to be 50-50. 50% good and 50% bad, pretty much.
Some people got 70-30.
70-30, 80-20, but overall, like you were saying, there's, the yin and the yang, it's the contrast. It's part of life. And I do believe that is part of our design, is that it really is the contrast that taps into the beauty of humanity and what we can do as humans when we overcome hardship and events, and that -50 kind of releases this potential where people, like when there's a storm and then the whole community comes out, it's almost like that's part of it, right? That
negative 50 teaches you to appreciate and how to get through the negative, the positive 50.
Yeah.
So that's very powerful. That's very powerful.
And I love, and this is one of the things that I teach my clients in my coaching program, is that when you can accept that, the 50-50 of life, when things are bad, when things are hard, you just acknowledge, oh, this is that 50% right now.
And
sometimes it's going to be 70% hard and 30% easy. Sometimes it might be 90-10, but just assuring yourself and reminding yourself that, this too shall pass.
Right.
I tell myself, this is the hard part. And then I tell myself, it's a good thing I can do hard things.
Because trouble don't last always. It really does. It really does. So what do people have to look forward to when they come and work with you at the Dream Academy?
Well, my core foundational program that all of my clients start with is a 12-week program called Dream Builder. And it's all about taking my clients through the 10 steps of dream building, which is a combination of mindset and possibility and spirituality and purpose and passion, and really the whole path to dream building, which a lot of times life coaches really focus on mindset, which of course we all need to manage our mind and point our mind in the right direction. But there's really so much more to that. And that's really one of the things that I believe is so unique about my program, is that I really take my clients deeper into incorporating the spiritual aspect and really getting in touch with that for themselves. And so we spend 2 weeks on forgiveness, because that really is one of the blocks that blocks us from our potential when we're harboring resentments toward others or ourselves. And then we go into gratitude, which is such a pillar for creation. And then we get into tithing and contribution and talk about the law of circulation. And then at the end, we really get into befriending your fear, which is obviously what every dream builder is going to experience is fear. And then I really give them some very tactical tools and skill set to go out in the world and create that dream. So in our 12 weeks together, I help my clients create a vision for that. When they answer the question, what would I love? I help them really paint that vision for themselves. And then over 12 weeks, we really start creating that and start bringing it into reality.
Share with me one of your success stories from one of your clients.
So one of my clients, when she came to me, she was very dissatisfied in her career. And she was in a business that she thought she should be in. And she was struggling with getting it up and running. Her business partner had left, and she was really at a cross point of what she was going to do with her life. And I asked her this question: what would you love? And over the next probably 4 or 5 months, she ended up deciding that that wasn't the business that she wanted. She was doing it because she thought she should, because she thought she'd be good at it. And when she and I, through our work together, she realized that she wanted to be a life coach, that she wanted to help women create their business or their life that they would love. And she was able to do that through the transformation that she went through in our coaching together. She went on to create an amazing coaching business, and she just started another one. And so she is living her dream. And so when I think about when I first met her on that first call where she was crying and so upset and just like overwhelmed and struggling, to where she is now, beaming with joy and happiness and just love, like truly loving her life. That is, and I have many clients like that, but she was one of my very first clients. So she'll always have a very special place in my heart.
I had a guest on. I only coach 5 people a year, and I only coach for 5 hours. I have a very unique program. You've already got to be at a certain level for me to work with you. I don't do the cradle to grave kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I had a woman that had cupcake. She was making cupcakes in her kitchen. And we talked about it. And after I got finished working with her for 5 hours, for 5 weeks, that woman's business increased 300%. 300%. And I said, how did you do that? She said, because you encouraged me to take an eagle eye view. You encouraged me to survey my guests to see really what they like. What was my favorites? I didn't need to have 20 different cupcakes. I needed to specialize in 5 that were really popular, save me time, money, energy, a more personalized service that I would offer them, how I would wrap it and make them feel special, and also setting goals. I would give her a goal and she would exceed it every week. And, and then managing your money. You have to understand what this is. Those little PayPal accounts and all that, those aren't personal slush funds. You have to know how to manage your business. So with all of that, I had the testimonial. I was just so overwhelmed. I threw her a little virtual party. I was so excited for her because cupcakes.
Yeah.
And so now she is able to pay her mortgage based upon making 5 different types of cupcakes from the comfort of her home.
Yeah.
So it's the dream. The dream, she had that, following it through, again, circulating the money, understanding what makes it special, customer service. All these things are key elements in success. Well, I am so glad to have talked to you, Deidrea. You are the best.
Thank you.
And I am all about the dream building. I am all about it 110%. I've had my own business since I was 5 years old. And so I know what it is to get out there to do it. I know what it is to be successful. I know what it is not to be successful, but I always know what it is to be grateful. And I'm grateful. So be sure to tell my brains here how to get in contact with you. They want to join you on the podcast. They want to join the Dream Academy.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So the best way to find me is to go to my website, and it is thedreamacademy.com. And from there, you can find my podcast. You can find information about my upcoming workshop. And what I really encourage all of your listeners to do, if any of what I've been talking about resonates with you, if you feel a calling that I'm speaking to you, that to book a complimentary strategy call, and you can do that right from my website, and we will spend 60 luxurious minutes together, dreaming together, and I will help you get clarity on your vision, and you will walk away with a plan to bring that dream into reality. So that is one of my honors and privileges, is to be up close and personal with people's dreams. And I do believe it's a sacred space when you share your dream with someone. And I think magic happens, as I'm sure you do, when two people get together and speak
Absolutely.
into existence. And so I would encourage everyone to book that free call and listen to my podcast, because as I said, I'm dropping a lot of wisdom over there.
And, you know, and you gotta pick up what she's putting down, because
I hope you do.
you might be able to ride in her Bentley, because there's a little refrigerator in the back and you got a cute little dog on the side. Thank you so much, Deidrea. You are the best. Brains, I need you to go in and keep your promise. I need you to like, love, share, and subscribe. Like, love, share, and subscribe. One more time. Like, love, share, and subscribe to Deidrea, as well as On the Edge with April Mahoney, because this is the place where dreams can come true. Thank you so much for being with me, Precious. You're the best.
Thank you.
Bye, Brains.